outside of Mario and outside of performance and dance, like, how do you, what are your ideas for guiding kasamahan and cultural enrichment outside of those things?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
So besides Mario, besides dance, besides performance, how do you hope to guide kasamahan in cultural enrichment?
Well, I would try to do the workshop like I said before, just to have to teach our general membership about what our culture is about, what we've been through, not just with us, like as Filipino Americans, but also those who are actually in the Philippines, and work with PRPA and make sure that we collaborate to make sure that what they're teaching can also go along with what we are teaching as Filipinos.
I feel like we're really lucky to like live in the Bay Area just because we have such a strong like Filipino presence, and the fact that I've had like experience working with other orgs outside of kasamahan that are like Filipino based, I feel like that's a good place to start on like really educating our membership on like our history and our culture, but also like current events that are going on with like Filipinos in the Philippines and Filipinos here in the Bay Area. We're really lucky. Like, you know, we have the veteranos like right down in San Francisco. We have like SF State that has like all these different like programs and like organizations that we can reach out to too. Like, I just want to be able to like expose the membership to all these things rather than just like focusing solely on bargaining.
With 3 people being on cultural committee, you each have your own voices. How would you work together in collaborating a final vision for the activities you described or barrio?
Okay. I feel like the main thing to really like achieve like one vision or that's like cohesive is just planning, like not doing things like last minute. And I know that we all have problems with procrastination, but like if I do get elected into this position, I really want to be able to like plan it, like even during summer or whatever, like have goals as to what events we want to hold or what we want to come out of barrio, or like what we want to even get out of our theme, you know, like what kind of lesson is that going to teach us. So I think it's all planning and like really having like open communication within cultural committee, but with also like e-board and membership as well, because I know like communication is something that has kind of lacked in the past, like especially with requirements for barrio or like deadlines or dues or whatever. So I think it's like planning and communication.
Going off with what Eunice said, besides planning, I think for me the biggest thing is communication. To create such a masterpiece, I don't think it should just be one person saying, oh, let's do this, and then the other two just saying, okay, we'll go what we said. I think that having your own voice and say, I also think let's add this thing in. I think that we can have a great show if we put all of our heads together. We need to not only go, I think we can go with what we have first and discuss it with our e-board. And then after that, after we discuss it with the e-board, we can discuss it with the general membership and see how we can take it from there.
We had our first PCN symposium this year. How do you plan on furthering that in the years?
So I really like the fact that we did our first PCN symposium. We've had a great feedback from the people who attended. I would say I would like to continue it, and actually I would like to bring a guest speaker that Ate Irene brought to our class, and his name was Raj. He's going to be teaching in Hawaii next year, but we're going to try and see if we can fly him in for a symposium. But he had such a great lecture, and it was very enriching that I think it should be a part of that symposium. And also, I think besides just having a symposium for other organizations outside of USF, I think we need to have a symposium for our general membership, because what we need to tell them is this is what Barrio is. This is what a PCN is. This is what it includes, and this is what we do. And I think just having that PCN symposium and making it a requirement for people to go to, I think would benefit us in the long run, especially once practices start, because as soon as we get to practices, we don't have to tell the choreographers, oh, you gotta go tell your dancers what the dances are. They already know the basic background of each suite, and they're just ready to go ahead and proceed with practicing.
I completely agree with Paul. I think PCN Symposium was such a different event that none of us had really seen, that it was super beneficial to us and the other schools, and it was another opportunity for us to just get to know the other schools, because we don't really have those opportunities besides friendship games or whatever, or rice jams. But I also want to do a workshop thing, and I feel that would be super beneficial to our membership, just because it was kind of discouraging to know that some people didn't know, what a suite was, or what their dance meant, or you know what I mean. I feel in the long, just in the end, PCN is just gonna mean so much more to the membership if they know what the dances mean, or what kind of stories they tell, or how all of it fits into the theme that we're trying to expose ourselves to.
So as coaches, you're working with one other person, but also you're working under the director. Say you have a disagreement with someone's vision, how would you handle that?
I feel like it would have to be, the three of us would have to sit down, not just the two people who are conflicting, and that third person would be the mediator. And I think just letting all of the facts that or the things that you want to say, and why there is that conflict, and trying to see if we can find a medium, so that you can kind of collaborate the two ideas, I guess, if it was that kind of conflict. And yeah.
I feel with such a big production, it's kind of a given that you're gonna run into some kind of conflict, or some kind of where your visions don't coincide. But it just all goes back to communication, and really making the other person, or trying to see where the other person's coming from, and trying to see oh, maybe they're envisioning it this way because blah blah blah, but maybe I should see it from their point of view too, just really communicating what your beliefs are, what your decision is going to be, and why you think that way, and just really trying to understand the other point of view, and try to collaborate with those, because three minds are usually better than one. So
what makes you stand out from other candidates?
For me, I think what makes me stand out is my passion for Barrio Fiesta. It was my first Barrio Fiesta last year, and just learning about the dances, especially from Eric, was really I don't know how to say it, but I was really happy just to learn about it, and it made me more interested in learning about other dances besides the regular dances that we have. Also, I think just the hard work that I put in, and hopefully this year you guys saw that. I really tried to put myself out there with Barrio and try to make it memorable, or as good as it can be.
I think for me, it was probably my knowledge base with culture, and the this hunger to really learn more about my culture, and always find something new that I will find inspiration from, and that I can share with the rest of the membership and the rest of the USF community. I feel like college has really given me the freedom to like explore that passion besides like having to do school and whatever, like really being involved in the things that I care about. And like this is something that I really care about, you know, like culture is something that has always, it's like, it's what brings us all together, you know, in this club, in this organization. It's like, even if there's things that we're not like all aware of, like it still brought us here, you know, like all those stories and stuff, like all of that comes out during Mario, and that's something that I find really beautiful about it. And like I just want to be able to share that, you know, passion. And like I know Paul's like passion, but it's whatever, you know. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Is there any plan to open up the Mario to like just the general members or even some YPS teachers? Because I know Ateri was trying to work in like this way for last semester, and I don't know if we had
Open it up like
like any
them is planning and like
yeah.
theme and whatever.
Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
I feel like personally I would be totally open to like hearing them out as to what their ideas are, because you know like YPSP, like they have degrees, they know their stuff, you know, like and as part of like one community, of course, like I wouldn't totally like shut them out from wanting to be part of this production that's like part of Sama, you know. So I think it's something that, of course, like I would have to talk to like co-chair and cultural director about it, but I would be fine with having them like lend a hand with whatever they wanted to do.
So for me, we actually did it this year too. We had the workshop, I believe, when we talked about 2 articles, and we were trying to expand that with we tried to expand it with with our theme this year. So I would definitely want to do that again. And I mean, it's Ateri. I was in Ateri's class last year, and she definitely wanted to be a part of it. And when she actually came up to us and had a discussion about the skit, there was information that I didn't even know about that I was really like shocked to find out. So I would like, if they're willing to come to us and say, I think I have an idea, like I don't oppose to it.
Music was a new aspect we included in Mario this year. What's something that you would like to include in Mario that's original and something that your own schedule would show this year?
Well, personally for me, I think with the theme, I know it's been brought up like before how the theme was always about like identity, but I mean, of course, it's always gonna go back to that because that's what the show is about. But I want to be able to like actually talk about our culture, you know, like and our history, like what, not just like talk about what we don't know, but talk about what we do know too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like bringing it back to stories that your mom used to tell you about, like, you know, a song and stuff like that. Like, I really want to be able to, like, not just share our struggles, but, like, on the stage, but also, like, what our triumphs are, you know, like, what achievements we've made. Yeah.
So, kind of going off with Eunice, we actually talked about this, so it's kind of the same thing with her. The thing is, we did a great job finding our identity last year. We did it successfully again this year, and I think it's time to close it up this time and try something new. So try something that that's not like, oh, we're gonna go to a PCN. Okay, so it's about finding one's identity again. So we're gonna sit there for 2 hours watching dances, doing the same. Like, the same thing. And kind of going with what she said, when we had the symposium, UOP actually said, "Oh, this year we're doing something with Philippine mythology," and that's something that was actually something that was really interesting to me because I was like, "Oh, that's interesting," because I know all of like that. My mom told me of the aswang, the mumo, the hapre, all of that, and it would be a nice way of like telling the audience, "Oh, this is what we do in the Philippines. This is like what has been done." Not so much like, "Oh, this is we're trying to find our identity again towards," and all of that. So yeah, kind of the same thing that you said.
Random question, but do you already have ideas of meetings for?
We've talked about
We've
it.
talked about it. Sorry. Oh, well, there was that. Just how the Philippines was made. Kind of going with. We are trying to see if we can base it mainly on like Philippine stories, Philippine folklore, mythology, and trying to see where we can take that and try to, wow the crowd.
It's kind of the same thing. Like, obviously we talked about it, but really about like talking stories. Like telling stories about our past and maybe like incorporating that into how it affects our culture now. Like I don't want to like give it. But anyway.
When it comes down to it, it's a production. It's an effort. It takes a year-long planning and meeting. So walls are hit along the way. Give us one example briefly. You dealt with a wall right now.
Oh my god. So sorry. I was an intern. Well, it's not one of the major, like, it's not a major wall, but I guess it was a wall. It was people dropping out of their dances. And for me, it's sad that they have to drop for whatever reason it may be. But I think we dealt with it by saying, okay, it's a legit reason for you to leave, go ahead. But now we're just trying to see, like, for me, I pulled people from my dances, especially with tinikling. I've lost half my cast, and I had to pull up. I asked people, hey, can you join it? Can you do it? So for me, it was, I outreach. I told people, hey, I need dancers. Are you willing to, put up some time and effort and become part of my dance? And for me, that was one of the walls that I faced as a choreographer, and I dealt with it by reaching to other people who may be interested to becoming a part of the dance.
Does it have to be like barrio specific? I guess. I guess it can be barrio specific. Well, during Hell Week, I guess it was really hard just because it didn't really hit me that Hell Week was going to be like when Hell Week was. So it kind of just felt like everything was piling up on everything. You know what I mean? Where you just feel like you're drowning. But at that point, like it felt like I was just like, you know what? I just need to focus on school. Like forget it. But then I realized that like this is part of a production and the choices that I'm gonna make to like skip whatever or like not do this task or whatever is gonna affect not just me but like the rest of the club. Like if I had a responsibility and I didn't do it, then it's just not gonna get done. So you just have to kind of like toughen up, like don't sleep and just do it. Like that's kind of just what it comes down to. So that was my challenge.
So you're both nursing majors. How are you planning to deal with all of
add on top of Barrio?
Well, for me, this was my first hardest semester being a nurse, since it's sophomore too, and I have to pass all my classes. Um, and for me, it was basically priority. I knew that before coming into spring semester, I had to choreograph 4 dances. And so over winter break, I choreographed already half of it, so that by the time that it came down to the first day of practice, I'm ready with with what I have to teach to my dancers. And at the same time, also, I communicated with other nursing majors who were already ahead of me and asked them, what do I have, what is gonna come up during my nursing too, and what can I do to deal with that. So for me, I prioritize myself, and I would do the same thing for next year if I were to be part of cultural committee, and I would start planning it over the summer if possible to see if we can get at least a broad plan of what we wanted to do.
I think, well, Paul said it, but like something they really, really emphasize in nursing is prioritizing, like not only in the hospital but outside, like with the rest of your life. So it's all about like prioritizing anti management, and like I feel like I've been able to balance school with like multiple organizations like or extracurriculars really well. So it's something that has taken time, but I feel like I've really gotten good at it. And this year was really hard with nursing and bio at the same time, just because like this was supposedly my hardest semester. But like I feel like I was able to, like really push through and just like find, the beauty in the struggle.
Sean?
You keep at 164 cast members, that's what you said. And you talk about featuring probably dances and how you reach out to response. What do you guys plan on, since the beginning of the semester, people have probably behind or sign up for all these dances. So how do you plan on keeping talking dances in one bar?
I feel like part of the issue with that this year was like money, or like not knowing what dues were, or what they were going towards, or like like not really knowing, I don't know, like a clear timeline, I guess. So I think the way that I would take care of that is, like if possible, like Paul said, try to plan it during summer. I want to be able to like create a barrio packet for the beginning, so that it has like all the information about what dues cover, when practices start, workshops that we would be holding that you would have to go to, stuff, like general information like that, and just kind of an overview of like the tradition of barrio and stuff. So hopefully that, and being open to like the freshmen that are coming in, and like even current students that aren't really involved, like, and just like being open and welcoming and like reaching out to them and making them feel like Kasaman really is a family to them, that would hopefully like make them want to stay.
Going on top of what Eunice said about creating the barrio packet and just starting everything early, I think also one of the biggest thing is that people like they think like they can't do it because they can't dance, and the thing is like that shouldn't discourage you from doing barrio, because we have so many aspects of barrio, which we have skit, we have dance, we have music, that we just added this year. And also, I mean, like, things happen for a reason, that's why they drop. And I mean, I think for those of us who are signing up again, I really wanted to add to the sign up form saying, if you're signing up for this as a returning member or as a returning barrio cast, you should know how it is, and that the only reason that you really should be dropping is that you change your schedule, there's a family emergency and that you can't do it, and also like you're failing out of your classes. To me, like those are the three biggest things that should really say like, oh, you can't do barrio, because everybody has stuff to do. Everybody's busy. We all have different levels, and saying that, oh, I can't dance shouldn't be an excuse, or I can't act shouldn't be an excuse. It should be like you should take that as an opportunity to learn how to do it, to see if you can, if you do it or not.